Welcome to the Matt McNeil Show. My name is Philip Anthony. We're broadcasting live today from AM 950 studios. And I want to welcome our affiliates, AM 950, of course, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, 1150 AM KKNW, Seattle at 5 p.m. Pacific, and BAM Blue Amp Media at blueamp.co on Substack. And I am also going to be subbing tomorrow for Matt McNeil. And on Thursday, Greg Bakken will be substituting. And on Friday, it will be Ellie Krug. So I have my co-host here today. She is a co-host with me on the Downright Upright show. Her name is Austin. Say hello, Austin.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, I see myself now.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe we'll fix it on the break. How are you doing today, Austin?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm amazing right now. Did you know that on the drive here, all this news started happening?
Yes.
I was like flabbergasted. I'm gobsmacked by all the news that's happening. So I'm going to try to update everybody about, the fire hose of information that's coming my way here today. One more thing I wanted to say, because, you got to pardon me, guys. This is, the first time I've hosted this show in about a year. I want to mention our sponsors, Popcorn and the Park Tavern. And thank you for sponsoring Matt's show today. So, according to the Daily Mail, you guys, the bullet that killed conservative commentator Charlie Kirk may not have matched the rifle by suspected killer Tyler Robinson in a bombshell new court filing in the States. Robinson, 22, is facing capital murder charges and a potential death sentence for Kirk's murder at Utah Valley University on September 10th. So we were discussing this, Austin, before the show.
Yeah.
And you said the bullet could have shattered in such a way that it's not able, you can't match it, right? Is that what you were saying?
It doesn't mean, right, this is not a smoking gun per se of saying, oh, see, there's a conspiracy. What this means is that the bullet was likely too fragmented for them to, in one method of identification, like pull rifling from it to match that same firearm. That doesn't mean that the bullet didn't come from that firearm. It just means when they've had to pull this bullet, and sorry to be gruesome, but pull a bullet from a body, right, to look at this. That's one method of trying to match it. There are other ways and other methods that they can look at trying to match this bullet to this firearm. And again, this is just one small piece of evidence. There's a lot more evidence that they have linking this individual, this alleged shooter, to this crime. So before conspiracy theories run off with, hey, this doesn't match. Well, there's actually reasons for that.
Right. It's kind of like, I remember during certain trials, murder trials, the DNA is not, the right amount, I guess. So they couldn't compare it and match it to the gun or whatever the weapon was. So it's kind of like that, right? Where the bullet has to match, but if it's so degraded.
If the sample is too fragmented, it's not possible for them to pull rifling from that in a way that would match to it. And again, forensics is a science and it's complex.
Yeah, I'm not a ballistics expert.
And I'm not a ballistic expert. And I know television teaches us that we'll find the answer in DNA by the end of the podcast, but in real life, it's a lot more complicated.
You're right. Yeah. So stay tuned. And also, when the trial actually starts, if that bullet, which is it's an important piece of evidence, doesn't match, that's one piece of evidence less that they have to prove that he did it.
Yeah, it's
it's not going to be helpful to it'll be helpful to his case
potentially.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the next subject. Just in case, but before we get to the next subject, I want to talk a little bit about us.
Yes.
Because nobody knows who I am. out there. Maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe Minnesotans do.
There we go.
AM 950 people. So I have a show on AM 950 called The Downright Upright Show with Philip Anthony. And every Saturday at 5 p.m. Central, we have interviews, talk about politics, we talk about LGBTQ plus issues down the road. And this lovely lady sitting next to me here in the studio is one of my co-hosts. She's on my show every first Saturday of the month, and that would mean that this coming Saturday will be our show.
It will be.
We just recorded it yesterday, so I feel like
did.
we're going to be discussing a lot of the same topics today. And so let's start with and one more thing about the show. We talk about LGBT issues and progressive issues because they walk hand in hand, right, Austin?
Absolutely.
I mean, so you know, if you don't vote the right way, things are not going to be good for our community. So I just wanted to, lay that on the table first. Okay, so let's get into the first issue that I wanted to talk. This other one that we were talking about, the bullet, was just like literally just happened.
Breaking news today.
It's breaking news. Breaking news. Yes. So border czar Tom Homan, you know who he is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the new guy. Said Sunday that immigration and customs enforcement agents would remain at airports until TSA officers are able to resume normal operations. So it's more like a S&M, standard model thing for them, because they're not really, they don't have the training to scan, for C4 and all those, things that you're looking for when or shoes that have, explosives. Yeah, I'm tongue-tied today. I don't know what's happening.
It's about normalizing the presence of armed federal troops.
Exactly. Yes.
So that we become accustomed to it.
Yeah, so you're used to seeing it, right?
Yeah.
So this is a quote from the gentleman. He said, "We're going to continue an ICE presence there," meaning airports, "and until the airports feel like they're in 100%, in a posture where they can do normal operations," he said on Face the Nation. So if less TSA agents come back, that means we'll keep more ICE agents there. So, right, let's talk about that first, that whole ICE thing and that whole TSA thing. First of all, the Democrats put forth and passed a bipartisan bill in the Senate. Am I right, Austin? Am I losing my mind? They passed a bill that said they will fund TSA and fund the Coast Guard, FEMA, everything in DHS. And they just had to send it to the House. The House would sign it, and then the agents would get paid. Well, that's not what happened, Austin.
No, it is not what happened.
What happened? Tell us, Austin. Surprise me.
Well, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody. We remain in a
yeah.
partial federal government shutdown.
Yes.
There was an executive order that there's been President Trump is kind of diverting money from this slush fund that DHS has. We think that's where the money's coming from, to pay TSA agents potentially for 2 weeks. So again, this is not a long-term solution. And you talk to people that work for TSA, they have now gone more days in this fiscal year without a paycheck than getting paid.
Yes.
This is the second time in short succession, and we're probably going to have this same debate at the end of May. And it's unfortunate that it's come to that. And you now have, tons and tons of people out there that are at risk of losing their home, of falling behind on their mortgage or car payment, people that have had cars repossessed, people that have been evicted. This is so disgusting, and the House could have fixed it, and Mike Johnson said no.
Yes, exactly. Now, if he would have passed the bill, right, Trump wouldn't have had to do an executive order. Now, he's only paying the TSA for yesterday's paycheck, I want to say. I'm not sure it's going to keep happening.
Yeah, it's a limited.
Yes.
Very limited.
Because the House appropriates. So if they're not appropriating, they has to pull it from somewhere, maybe from the big, beautiful bill, I'm guessing,
Well, and DHS has a huge slush fund. I think it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest slush funds for any federal agency. There's money there. They could do this. They could have done this from the beginning. They chose not to because they want to play politics with people's lives.
Yeah. And then there's the Coast Guard, it's supposed to be protecting our sovereignty. And then there's FEMA in case there's a hurricane or a tornado or whatever to help people. So there's a lot of things that could have been funded if Trump's little Johnson would have passed the bill, right?
Absolutely.
And he did not. So I just want to throw that ball out there, ladies and gentlemen. If you're hearing that it was the Democrats that put the kibosh on this, it's not true, right? Okay. So is there anything else you wanted to add to that? Or I think we covered that.
I just brace yourselves because I'm sure we'll be doing this again in a month and a half.
Yeah. Exactly. And every time I go through a TSA line, this is just anecdotal, I always thank them for coming to work. I mean, if since this happened, I did fly. So I just say thank you for coming to work. Thank you for doing what you do, because this has been happening quite a while now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be, I only have a minute left here. So I guess I'll introduce the next topic, and
Sure.
then we'll come back from the break and we'll talk about it. About the Supreme Court is going to be deciding who is an American. You heard about that?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about what the Constitution says about it, how Americans feel about it. And the surveys, different surveys are talking about, what people say about, citizenship. Now, there's a term that I hate called anchor babies. I don't know if you've heard that term before. It's awful. I mean, I hate it. But Donald Trump is trying to say that people are coming in the country just to give birth. Imagine that. I mean, no, they're coming into the country to make a better life for their families. That's what I think. And immigration's so important for our country. So, but we're going to be taking a break. And when we come back, we'll talk more about this subject. This is the Matt McNeil Show here on AM 950, WCPT, 820, 1150 AM, KKNWN, BAM, Blue Amp Media. See you on the other side.
Hi, this is Chad from AM 950. I've been telling you about Snap Construction, the company AM 950 trusts for all roofing and siding needs. Now that spring is here and summer is around the corner, now is a great time to find out why AM 950 trusts Snap Construction. Ryan, the owner, and his team at Snap Construction have been great to work with, and they have enjoyed working with our listeners.
Hi, this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners at AM 950. What a great group of people and a great radio station. I personally want to thank all the listeners that we've had the opportunity to work with. At Snap Construction, we look forward to working with many more of you when it comes to your roofing, siding, windows, and insulation. Don't just take Chad's word for it. Google Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the Twin Cities metro. We led this community with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate. Call today, 612-333-SNAP, 612-333-SNAP, or visit us online, snapconstruction.com.
On March 5th, 2026, JR Broadcasting, LLC, licensee of KTNF 950 AM, St. Louis Park, Minnesota, filed an application with the Federal Communications Commission for the assignment of license. Members of the public wishing to view this application or obtain information about how to file comments and petitions on the application can visit publicfiles.fcc.gov and search in KTNF's public file.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh, every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community. and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
Peace up, A-Town down. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. Usher, 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 usher. Let's go. Yeah.
This is a throwback.
Love this.
In the club with my homies, trying to get a little VI. Keep it down on the low key. She know how it feels.
Welcome back to the Matt McNeil Show. My name is Philip Anthony. I will be filling in for the fantabulous Matt McNeil. I'm here with Austin, my co-host from the Downright Upright Show here on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. And we're going to thank our affiliate, besides AM 950, WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, 1150 AM, KKNW in Seattle, and BAM, Blue Amp Media. There was one thing I didn't mention. There is no, they're talking about paying the TSA workers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not talking about when that's going to happen again.
Yeah.
They haven't brought it up. So these people are in abeyance again, not knowing when their next paycheck is going to. So why do you think that Johnson doesn't want to do this? I mean, does he have to listen to Trump? Is that the whole kit and caboodle here?
You know, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and I'll say it again here. I think people are like, why is Mike Johnson so out of touch? And Republicans are sweating bullets about the midterms. I think Mike Johnson feels very confident that, you know, they're going to pull off something with Save America, something with voter intimidation or ICE at the polls. I think he feels totally untouchable right now, and he does not care. I truly think he doesn't care.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about who is an American. Okay, we left the poor people hanging.
Yes,
at the first segment.
You teased birthright citizenship.
Yeah, birthright citizenship. In the United States, birthright citizenship became part of the Constitution in 1868 as an effort to protect recently freed slaves. Okay, it's in the Constitution. It was enacted with the passage of the 14th Amendment. Section 1 of the amendment says, quote, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. But Trump has taken aim at birthright citizenship, passing an executive order on day one of his second term to ban it. Now, remember I was talking to you about the anchor baby thing?
Mm-hmm.
He is trying to initiate this narrative that people are coming here just to have their babies to become American citizens. That is so false. Pick it up, Austin.
Yeah, I mean, the scariest part with all of this is, and SCOTUS is taking this case. You know, we're going to wind up, if SCOTUS finds in favor of the Trump administration, we could wind up with this patchwork set of rules for how citizenship is determined. And let's say somebody that's a citizen in Minnesota that's born here may not be considered a citizen if they're born in Texas. Like, that could be different.
That's insane.
And that's crazy. That's so crazy. And the notion, I just want to touch on, I would encourage anybody with more interest in this to look up. The ACLU right now is representing a lawsuit brought on behalf of numerous people that had children that were born here. You know, these are people that were without status or out of status at the time, and they were basically given a choice of, you can be deported with your child, or we're taking your child and we're keeping him here and we're deporting you, which is a choice no one should ever have to make after giving birth.
Holman say that he's going to keep families together, and so he'll probably deport both of them. right?
Well, but they're so this case that they're representing, Holman did say that, but this case that they're representing, the ACLU brought, this goes back. This goes back before all of this. This is years old now at this point. So this is not a new tactic by ICE. This is just amplified that we've seen it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to read what the how Americans feel about this upcoming. The case is starting tomorrow, isn't it? Wednesday. Yeah, it says Wednesday. How Americans feel about the case. As birthright citizenship goes to the Supreme Court, here's how Americans feel about it. A Public Religion Research Institute survey from December found 2/3 are in favor of granting citizenship regardless of their parents' citizenship status. A large sample poll by Civic Health and Institutions Project, a survey done in conjunction with multiple universities, found that 59% are in favor of keeping it. So people are, they know what side the bread is buttered on, right? So I think this is not a popular case. I think, but see, Trump is always the type of person, I always felt this way, that he would stick his finger in his mouth, and then try to find out which way the breeze is blowing and go with that. But I think his finger is numb or something, because it's not, the wind is blowing in the opposite direction of all these things that he's initiating.
I mean, I think you've got Stephen Miller sitting over his shoulder, blowing on his finger, telling him which way it's going.
We don't want to talk about that. Yes, I agree. Stephen Miller's a mess. Yeah. But I think, in the midterms, I think Donald Trump is toast. So put the butter on it right now, because, I know you love that. He's toast. The butter is ready. It's already ready to go. And the marmalade, it's ready to go, because I can't imagine people wanted to vote for more of this stuff. Right? I mean, what say you?
There are some people out there that do. And I don't think they realize or necessarily understand or care. Where do you draw that line, right? If somebody says your parents didn't have citizenship or were out of status, if your grandparents didn't have citizenship or were out of status, I don't think they realize how closely this issue could impact them.
Yeah. There's a new term. I forgot to mention this too. As I'm looking at the reporting, anchor babies the new term for anchor baby is birth tourism. So people,
that doesn't
I know
happen.
I love your eyes.
It doesn't happen.
Not happening. No. People are coming here to go on vacation, quote unquote, and they're having their babies here, I guess. I don't remember that ever happening in my lifetime with anybody I knew, but I digress. But and then to put a pin on this, the Heritage Foundation, the conservative think tank behind Project 2025, which has shaped much of Trump's agenda, recently called for states to restrict public education for undocumented students, and has recommended that states directly challenge Filer versus Doe, which is the decision, arguing that it costs states hundreds of millions of dollars in education spending. So what do they want? The people just not to be educated, the kids not to be educated, Austin? I mean, this is the problem with this country. We're putting people in boxes, segregating, going, you're not legal, you're black, you're gay, you're trans, instead of just saying this boat's going to either sink or float with all of us in it, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only minority you should fear is the 1%. But
well, yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's go to the next issue, because, by the way, folks, I do my show quite like this, right, Austin? We rattle off issues, and because we try to cover, because there's so much stuff to cover. If you can't, if you don't do it, you'll leave something out, Oh, wait, before I do that, before we got in the studio today, there was another breaking news thing, right?
There were a couple, but
there's two. So I'm hoping I can remember. Okay, Kristi Noem's husband, right?
Yes.
He is doing drag or something now, and they found that out, that there's a picture of him. I don't know. I didn't read the whole thing. Maybe you did.
This was like right as we were coming in.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
That they're we're cutting away, I think.
Oh, wait, we're cutting away. 29,
yeah.
Well, yeah, you are cutting away. My name's Philip Anthony. We'll be back right after this break.
Your Need to Know News headquarters, the Thom Hartmann Program, AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
At Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, our job is to help you find a place for fire. Our displays include over 180 models in diverse styles, and we have over 35 burning displays. Come and experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Some say there are only 2 seasons in Minnesota: road construction and winter. Hi, this is Laura, and I agree there are 2 seasons in Minnesota: summer and fireplace season. I bought my wood stove for Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces in 2005, and every season after summer comes the time when we fire up the wood stove, get out our favorite music, and discover the warmth of fire. Our dog Pumpkin remembers the fire too. He stations himself right there, legs up in the air, just enjoying the warmth of the fire. With the wood stove, we are able to keep the main area of the house toasty warm, while the thermostat is set at an energy efficient 64 degrees. Discover your fireplace season. Visit Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces today.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The end of winter is finally on the horizon, and you're going to start thinking about all that nasty crud that's built up in your home over these last few months. Call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to help get you an early start on the spring cleanup. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel. This month, get Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner. Buy one room, get another free. Buy another room of carpet cleaning, get another room of carpet done for free. Get the picture? Also this month, get a free size upgrade on every whole home air duct cleaning package. Don't you love when you buy your favorite beverage and get a free size upgrade? That's what Zero Res is doing this month with their whole home air duct cleaning package. Start spring cleaning with a free upgrade and pay less for more fresh. Call Zero Res right now, 9520-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
With Easter coming, Popped Corn, that's P-O-P-P-E-D corn.com, has all the flavors to put a smile on everyone's face. Popped Corn has many delicious flavors to choose from, like cheese made with real cheese, caramel, kettle corn, cinnamon toast, or try one of their great mixes like Windy City, featuring cheese and caramel. Their new flavor of the month is everything but the bagel, and they can ship their popcorn across the USA. Go to poppedcorn.com, enter the discount code MATT to get 10% off your order. That's discount code MATT at popcorn, P-O-P-P-E-D corn.com. With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 51, tonight cloudy with a low around 32, and Wednesday a mix of rain and snow with a high near 42. Enjoy authentic Chinese favorites at the Great Wall Restaurant. From hot and sour soup to sesame chicken and even their delicious Peking duck, you'll find it at the Great Wall Restaurant. Visit them at 4515 France Avenue to experience their full selection and learn more at greatwallrestaurant.us. That's greatwallrestaurant.us.
ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Welcome back to the Matt McNeil Show. My name is Philip Anthony. I am subbing or filling in, whatever term you want to use, for the fantabulous Matt McNeil. I'm here with my co-host, Austin. There is somebody really amazing on the phone, Austin. I hope you're ready for this.
Yep.
It's Robbie Roadsteamer, who is for those people out there who don't know, he is the gentleman who dresses up as a giraffe usually and sings these parodies about ICE, Trump, and everything, and I just love him. He brings humor to a very sad situation. So I'm going to say hello to Robbie. Hi, Robbie.
Hey, what's going on, Philip?
How are you?
I'm glad. Each day outside of a nice prison is paradise.
Nice prison. Well, Robbie, I just want to say it was so wonderful meeting you at No Kings over the weekend.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. The new Haight-Ashbury. We have our counterculture movement again. Hunter S. Thompson would unsuicide himself if he knew how awesome the wave is right now.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Yes, I know. Some of the songs you sang were incredible. I know you can't sing a lot of them on here because we have to bleep every word. But can you give us like a rough idea of maybe you could do poetry? Maybe you could do it in poet form.
Yeah. I got this beautiful one about Trump, and it's just like, hey, Mr. Tangerine Man, get rid of my Social Security from me. I'm dumb and MAGA. There ain't no need for money from me.
Oh, I got to put it together here, guys. That's amazing. Austin and I, we follow you on the socials. You are a pick me up. Explain why it's so important for you to pick up this, people on the left right now who are, navigating this fustercluck that we're going through right now.
Absolutely, Philip. I mean, last time we tried to do this was Occupy Wall Street. We wore a bunch of V for Vendetta masks and blew up cars and blocked streets. No bueno. This time we're going back to the Grateful Dead parking lot. We're getting the Gen Xers, the boomers excited by pretty much having a Chuck E. Cheese for adults. We're replacing the word protest with festival. Sure, we can hate ICE. Sure, we can hate Pumpkin Spice Satan. But at the same time, let's come together as a community again. And if we remember comedy, the Merry Pranksters, the Yippies, Haight-Ashbury, Abby Hoffman, it's always a part of that. The art of comedy brings people together.
You're absolutely right. And thank you for that. We really need this right now. My co-host, Austin, would love to ask you something or say something to you because she follows you too. And we think you're the bomb. So.
Yeah, huge fan. Huge fan. Love the Andy Kaufman vibes. So
thank you. I actually performed for Andy Kaufman's family at Caroline's Comedy in Times Square. His father, his brother Michael, and his sister Carolyn.
That's incredible. That is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what's next on the agenda for you.
Well, I do have a court date, thanks to ICE, at a beautiful Minneapolis courthouse, April 16th. So I will be down there. Woke Farmers, you're having his hearing that day. So that one I cannot avoid. We will be having a concert in front of the courthouse at 300 South Street. If anybody wants to come down and hear some good old folk music and whatnot. And I'm recording an album next week of all my favorites at the, protest front, all the karaoke classics. I have a guy making the tracks from scratch so I don't get the algorithms all screwed up. And I'm very excited. After that, I think I'll go on a little bit of a tour to promote the album through various ICE detention centers throughout America.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah, don't you love him? I really love you. I do. And
I love you.
I would love to meet you again. And anytime you're in the Twin Cities, please look us up. And I'd love to have you on the show and talk again. Where's your next venue? Where are you going to be next after this this case that you have to appear in front of the judge?
After I beat the charges, I think I will be appearing April 11th is going to be a big anti-ICE day. I can't give too much speculation about it, but there's a certain item that we have 8,000 of that we got from a kinky shop. And it's been thrown around at the Whipple Center. They come usually a foot or whatnot. And on April 11th, that's going to be a day around the country where DHS centers are going to be bombarded with this item, if you understand what I'm saying. I'll be singing songs about it, and we're going to be hucking them into the streets. We'll be dancing. It'll be the new Grateful Dead parking lot. I know we're on FM, FCC compliant, so I can't say what that special item is, but I think you know what I mean.
Yes, I do, Robbie. Well, thank you again for your voice. Again, stay in touch with me. I would love to have you on again. And
absolutely.
And Austin and I would bid you a farewell and be safe out there. Okay. Promise me.
Yeah, absolutely. Much love, man. We're going to have the new Summer of Love this summer. We fight absurdity of MAGA with more absurdity. God bless, and we can storm Applebee's together this summer.
Okay, Robbie, take care of yourself.
Thank you.
I love you too. Be blessed.
You too now. Wow, isn't he great? I
Incredible.
love him. Well,
Incredible.
Now we have the gated community is on the line
yes.
Again. By the way, if you do want to call and talk to us, 952-946-6205. I forgot even to mention that because I'm so used to doing pre-recorded shows.
Right?
I forget, we got to get some input here. So who's on the line from the gated community today?
Well, hello there. This is Beth.
Oh, hi,
This
Beth.
is Suman.
Beth and Sumon. Oh,
Hey,
hi guys!
awesome.
Yay!
Hello.
Oh my
Hi.
God! Did you hear I had Robbie Roadsteamer on the show today too?
Amazing.
We did. That's great.
Oh my God, he's so funny. I love him, and he makes everybody laugh. And I think we need a little laughter in this environment.
Absolutely.
So
Yes,
could you
we do.
tell us a little bit about Hope to Hell, your new song, and where the proceeds are going and why you did this?
Sure. Yeah. So, Hope to Hell was one of a series of songs that I wrote in response to the ICE occupation of the Twin Cities that really kind of started in late December and got going in January. And particularly after Renee Good's murder, I just felt like I needed to try to write about what was happening in a way that, made sense to me and would work for the band. Anyway, and I think the Hope to Hell in particular, I think it was written after Alex Preddy was murdered, and it was, I think, like on that weekend, I had written the song. This would have been on the Sunday, like late January, and then and then we recorded it and like the next day and released it on February 2nd. And basically, it's sort of a song that tries to kind of describe the sort of struggle that people are feeling in response to this horrible situation, and encourages people to keep going. Basically.
And the organization that the the proceeds are going to is MIRAC, the Minnesota Immigrant Rights Action Committee. They're doing some really great work, and so far we've raised, I think, around over $1,300 from the single alone.
1,500.
1,500.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Where could people go to download the song or to contribute if they would like?
The best place is Bandcamp. It's thegatedcommunity.bandcamp.com. That's BANDCAMP. And that's where where we can kind of collect and track the sales the most clearly. And we also have a surprise, which is that pretty soon we're going to be adding 2 new protest songs to that. We were in the studio in the past
wow,
2 weeks.
really?
So it's going to kind of turn into a little EP of protest songs.
This is like breaking news. I didn't know about this. Wow.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's brand new.
Amazing. And I want to just tell the listeners again, because this is the Matt McNeil show. And for those of you who have not listened to the Downright Upright show on AM 950, which we stream. So wherever you live, if you live in Seattle, you live in Chicago, you live in New York, you can hear the Downright Upright show. But I always make sure I play Hope to Hell on my show as my bumper music because it's such a powerful testament to what happened in the Twin Cities. And I know Austin has a question she'd like to ask you as well. So Austin.
Yeah, oh gosh, I'm sorry, I'm so excited. I love Hope to Hell. And the lyrics just so resonate and encapsulate, I think, what so many of us are feeling. There's just this community scar of trauma. And I'm wondering in choosing, I guess the lyrics that you did, is there a bigger, broader meaning with the phrase "hope to hell"? And maybe I'm reading too much into it. In listening to it, I've wondered about that.
I'd love to hear your take on it because I think what I was trying to do is, I mean, it sort of popped into my head when I was writing the chorus that was on that Saturday before we released it or recorded and released it. It just popped into my head, and then I was sort of playing it, and it seemed to fit and make sense. I have been kind of doing some research in my day job as an academic on some of the Minnesota protest songs, and a lot of them use the F word, which is very different from this song.
Poignant.
It is poignant and very compelling. And I think I later found out that hell is one of the most common curse words, and it's obviously a radio-friendly one.
Yes, it is.
And favorite of Minnesotans, which I did not know. But I think that one of the things I like about it is that there's both the positive and the negative in the phrase. There's hope and there's hell, and so it just captures contradictions and mixed feelings, and yeah. But I'd be curious to know what you think of it.
Yeah, the thought with it, and I the reason I had brought that up is in listening to this, I feel like so many people that have been out and active with this, which is great and we want, but I feel like there's been this collective sense of many people kind of waking up to the fact that these atrocities committed by ICE, whether it's civil liberty violations or human rights violations, aren't new. They're just amplified. And I like that people are waking up to that, but it's an uncomfortable feeling. And in talking to other activists, they kind of feel this sense of like they had so much hope, and yet there's also a discomfort in realizing that this isn't new, and what we're protesting against, what we're out fighting against, it's just now amplified, and it's not going to be done away with one protest, even though it feels great to go out and do these things. That the road is very long, and so in listening to this song, it just feels so poignant to this moment in time.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Sumant, I want to tell you something. The first time I heard the song, you had me in tears. I mean, your voice is so plaintive in that song as well. I mean, I've never heard you sing with such passion. Your songs, your songs are usually very, happy. From what I remember from the gated community songs, and that song, your voice, it was like you were. It was a lot of sadness. It was a lot of mourning. It was just beautifully done, Sumant, and the rest of the band. And I'm sure the audience out there is going to be so taken by this song. They're going to just love it. And it's for a good cause as well. So again, one more time for the audience, where they can download the song or buy the song or even donate to the organization.
Yeah. So the place to buy the song is at thegatedcommunity.bandcamp.com. And we should also say that we just released a new video of the song as well. So
yeah, I saw that.
Another thing, and we should also point to the video that you made of the song, which is so beautiful.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very much.
heartbreaking. And so there's, there are lots of ways that I think people can kind of see it now. And I know at the link for the video that we made, which is a video of us just playing and recording it in the studio, the link to the Bandcamp page is right there.
Yes. Well, Gated Community, you're amazing. Thank you so much for calling into the show. Your music is incredible. And again, ladies and gentlemen, please, if you can, go online and purchase this song. It really helps. Thank you guys for coming on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye. We're going to take a break now, and we'll be back after these messages. This is the Matt McNeil Show.
But if one comes to me, I won't back down. Are they acting out of spite? A reign of tyranny.
This is Alex Knorr from Buzzcut Mowing, a young, hardworking entrepreneur serving the Southwest Metro with affordable lawn care. I take the hard work off your plate with weekly mowing. I also offer leaf cleanups, aeration, dethatching, tree trimming, and mulch installation. I'll keep your lawn beautiful so you can enjoy your weekends with the people who matter most. Visit buzzcutmowingmn.com. That's buzzcutmowingmn.com.
Get ready for Easter fun with the annual Easter brunch at the Park Tavern. Enjoy Easter ham, all your Easter breakfast and brunch favorites, and all the sides and desserts. Seatings are from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sunday, April 5th, and you need reservations. $29.95 for adults, $19.95 for those over 65 and under 12 years old, and 5 and under are free. And don't forget the hour of free bowling with every reservation. Call 952-929-6810 on Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park. Enjoy a delicious, stress-free Easter with the Park Tavern.
Hey, it's Tom Hartman, and here's a thought I keep coming back to. Your utility company raised its rates last year. It'll raise them next year and the year after that. And you have no vote, no say, and no alternative, unless you generate your own power. That's what solar makes possible for your home and your business. All Energy Solar has been helping homeowners and commercial operators take back control of their energy since 2009. They design every system specifically for you, your property, your usage, your goals. No cookie cutter solutions, no pressure, just honest answers and expert work. Minnesota homeowners also benefit from sales tax, property tax exemptions, and some local incentives depending on where you live. And commercial customers can still get access to the 30% federal investment tax credit through 2027. But you have to act soon. The sun shows up every day and asks nothing in return. All Energy Solar helps you capture it. Visit allenergysolar.com or call 800-620-3370 for your free evaluation today.
Peace of mind shouldn't cost a fortune. We keep things simple at Schroman Law because we believe planning for your estate and end-of-life care shouldn't be stressful or expensive. Every client relationship starts with a free consultation so clients have the information they need before making important decisions. From there, we work closely with clients to ensure they are choosing the most efficient and cost-effective plans for their specific needs. Schedule a free consultation today at schromenlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
What if I told you that toxic pesticides from crop seeds and lawns have spread all over Minnesota's lands and water, devastating wildlife and posing risks to our health? Well, it's true. But a coalition of Minnesota farmers, community members, anglers, and more are taking action to protect our state from neurotoxic pesticides. To learn more and get involved, visit cleanerseed.org. That's cleanerseed.org. And tune to Food Freedom Radio.
Welcome back to the Matt McNeil Show. My name is Philip Anthony, and I am here with my co-host Austin from the Downright Upright Show. And we had these two wonderful calls,
Yes.
Austin, and so I went off on a tangerine because we were talking about Kristi Noem's husband, and then I saw these calls came in, and so I went off, La La Land. So would you bring up what happens? I mean, there's something about dressing up in drag. That's all I know.
And this is new breaking kind of today. So we don't have all the details yet. But allegedly there had been photographs leaked, and several women have come forward saying that Kristi Noem's husband had chatted them up online, kind of in the bimbofication fetish scene, that he was, I guess, talking with them, and also like himself dressing up in this. If you're at work, don't Google it. But essentially, it's a fetish that involves people doing body modification or costumes to make their breasts larger, look like Barbie type thing. So
he was putting like falsies in there or something.
Wearing them himself, and also chatting with women that are in this scene.
The party that hates the LGBTQ plus community, right?
Yeah. And like I say this not to kink shame. Like if that's what he's into, that's great.
Yeah.
But your wife really seems to have an issue with other people being into this. So it's interesting. So.
The hypocrisy in that party is insane, Austin.
Yeah.
Do you know that during CPAC, right? Grindr went off the charts.
It does every year. Year.
It was like, and by the way, for those people out there who don't know what Grindr is, it's an app that gay men use to hook up or to meet other men. You don't have to hook up. You could just meet or go on a date or whatever. I know people that have met to date other people. But it's definitely a gay app. It's a LGBTQ plus app. So yeah, and why is it happening at CPAC? Not CPAP. I have a CPAP, by the way. I gotta stop. The acronyms are confusing me. But yeah. Anyway, so I want to talk about this case here in Maine.
Yes.
That the Supreme Court will not take up, thankfully. Maine, meaning the state of Maine, mother's lawsuit against Damariscotta-based school district, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, which is argued violated her parental rights by not disclosing information about her child's gender transition. The U.S. Supreme Court on Monday released the latest round of cases that it agreed to take and those it rejected. It denied the appeal from Amber Levine, whose case had been dismissed by lower courts. Levine of Newcastle first sued this school board in April of 23, alleging it violated her parental rights and her 14th Amendment by allowing her child to use a different name and pronouns in school than they had been assigned at birth, and by providing a 13-year-old child a chest binder. So I think she's more upset with that. What say you about that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess this is an instance of a child, for reasons that would seem apparent to us, didn't feel safe or was not in a safe position to say, hey, this is how I want to be referred to. This is who I am. The school went along with that and called this child by the name they preferred. And parents found out, and mom claims that was usurping her rights as a parent. SCOTUS has said, you really haven't proven that this in any way is usurping your rights as a parent. So we're rejecting the appeal.
Yeah, and it's socially transitioning, which is, for those folks out there who don't understand the difference between medically and socially, when you socially transition, you're just basically dressing differently and using different pronouns and names. Okay, that's it. There's nobody's cutting off parts like they're trying to say and all this drama. Because I've read, when I was reading about this case, that they're spreading that they tried to, they wanted to send her to a hospital to have surgery.
Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation.
It's awful. Stop lying, people. Socially transitioning is not medically transitioning. So stop. Okay. So anyway, we have 2 more minutes here. So I'm going to bring this one up really quick about the SAVE Act. Safeguarding American Voter Eligibility Act is sparking a nationwide debate over voter ID requirements and election security. With the 2026 midterm elections approaching, the outcome of this legislation could play a major role in reshaping the voting access across the country. Now, there's more about it here, and we could probably go into it in the second hour. But why is it important, do you think, to not allow states to just give the federal government their voter rolls and tell them who is eligible to vote and who isn't, and to purge the rolls? This is highly unethical to me.
It's highly unethical, and the federal government has yet to really offer a detailed explanation of why they need or want that information.
Yeah, they didn't explain.
So
yeah, I mean, what are you going to do with it?
We can speculate, and the speculation's not good, right? This is about voter intimidation. It's about purging people, and it's about controlling election outcomes. But again, federal government, they have yet to offer a great explanation for why they need this.
Yeah. Well, I all I have to say is I hope Minnesota and the other blue states do not do that. Okay. I just want to say goodbye to Chicago and Seattle, and Blue Amp is going to stay with us, and AM 950 will stay with us in the second hour. Thank you for having me today, and I'm going to be back tomorrow to talk more about politics, and Austin will not be here, but you can listen for Austin next Saturday on the Downright Upright show here on AM 950. Goodbye, everyone, and see you later. And
happy Trans Day of Visibility.
Happy Trans Day. Thank you. Thank you for reminding. There's so much stuff in my head today. I'm sorry. Yes. Happy Trans Day of Visibility to all my trans brothers and sisters out there, and we love you. Bye.
Greg Bakken here. I'm on a mission with Eat Local Minnesota to take you to some of the best local restaurants serving unforgettable dishes. Maverick's Real Roast Beef in Roseville is the Twin Cities go-to for mouth-watering roast beef sandwiches, but that's just the beginning. Try their Philly steak, turkey bacon avocado, BLT, crispy chicken, fish brisket, or pulled pork. Every bite is packed with flavor. Don't miss this local favorite. See the full menu at mavericksbeef.com. Your taste buds will thank you. Or how about some sensational Chinese cuisine? Since 1981, the Great Wall has been a Twin Cities favorite for Szechuan and Peking cuisine. Their menu is huge, flavorful, and consistently excellent. My go-to dishes are the sesame chicken, imperial beef, and their famous Peking duck. You'll find the Great Wall at 45th and France with takeout available. Visit greatwallrestaurant.us. These are just a couple of great restaurants Minnesota has to offer. I'll be sharing more with you soon. And remember, when you eat local, Minnesota.
Hey, Minnesota, it's your favorite sexy liberal. Join me and my fellow cohorts in liberal justice weekdays from 8 to 11 on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Ben Thomas. President Trump is again expressing frustration with allies unwilling to do more to help the Iran war effort. Sakar Magani has details.
The president's been asking allies to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and his social media message to nations upset by high fuel prices: go get your own oil. An hour later at the Pentagon,
might want to start learning how to fight for yourself.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the U.S. has done the lion's share of preparing to reopen the strait, but others must step up. Their remarks came after the U.S. struck a city housing a key Iranian nuclear site. Hegseth says talks with Iran are gaining strength, but both he and the president say until there's a deal.
I didn't mean it flippantly when I said in the meantime, we'll negotiate with bombs.
Sagar Magani, Washington.
And John Gambrell has more on today's exchange of fire.
The U.S. military is continuing its strikes on Iran, including one on Esfahan today that apparently blew up a munitions dump there. And we also saw the Iranians attack a Kuwaiti oil tanker off the coast of Dubai, where I am. That tanker caught fire, but authorities were able to put out the blaze without any oil seeping into the Persian Gulf.
Big swing in oil markets today. Brent crude fell more than 3%, settling just under $104 per barrel. On Wall Street, stocks surged to their best day since last spring. The Dow soared 1,125 points, or about 2.5%. The S&P leaped 2.9%. The Nasdaq 3.8%. Still, AAA puts the average price of a gallon of gasoline at just under $4.02 per gallon nationwide. More economic numbers. The Conference Board's Consumer Confidence Index inched higher this month, despite the surge in gas prices. But job openings were down in February. The Labor Department reports 6.9 million posted, down from January. And the number of people quitting their jobs, a sign of confidence, slipped. This is AP News.
Progressive knows you want to get away, but not like too away. You crave the unknown, but also charcuterie boards with 4 types of cheese. And that's exactly why you bought an RV and bundled it with Progressive, because 24/7 protection is one luxury you'll never have to give up. So go ahead, explore the wilderness, all from the comfort of your zero-gravity cab chair. Switch to Progressive and protect your RV, boat, or motorcycle by bundling with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates of third-party insurance. Not available in all states or situations.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com and get ready for the workday.
Hey Francois, why are you hiding packages of macaroons in your yard?
Parce que Pâques est une grande fête en France.
Easter is a big holiday in France. It is in America too, but aren't you supposed to hide chocolate eggs?
Les macarons ont un meilleur goût.
You think macaroons taste better than chocolate eggs?
Oui, bien sûr, en particulier les macarons de Nicolette.
Oh, and Nicolette's macaroons. They're so pretty. They have those pretty pastel colors. So do you know where you hid them all?
J'en ai mangé la plupart.
You ate most of them? Oh, Francois, you better hurry and buy some more at nicolettesmacaroons.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. The end of winter is finally on the horizon, and you're going to start thinking about all that nasty crud that's built up in your home over these last few months. Call My Cleaning Heroes at Zero Res to help get you an early start on the spring cleanup. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel. This month, get Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner. Buy one room, get another free. Buy another room of carpet cleaning, get another room of carpet done for free. Get the picture? Also this month, get a free size upgrade on every whole home air duct cleaning package. Don't you love when you buy your favorite beverage and get a free size upgrade? That's what Zero Res is doing this month with their whole home air duct cleaning package. Start spring cleaning with a free upgrade and pay less for more fresh. Call Zero Res right now, 9520-RES, or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 51, tonight cloudy with a low around 32, and Wednesday a mix of rain and snow with a high near 42. Enjoy authentic Chinese favorites at the Great Wall Restaurant. From hot and sour soup to sesame chicken and even their delicious Peking duck, you'll find it at the Great Wall Restaurant. Visit them at
there you are.
France Avenue to experience.
Yeah, I left and
Learn more at greatwallrestaurant.us. That's greatwallrestaurant.us.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of the Matt McNeil Show. My name is Philip Anthony. I am filling in for the fantabulous Matt McNeil. I'm here with my co-host, Austin, who is also a co-host on the Downright Upright Show on AM 950 every Saturday, 5 p.m., except she's only on the first Saturday of every month. I wish you were on every day. I love you. Yeah, we had a great first hour, man. I'm still reveling in this. You know, Robbie Road Steamer and the gated community. I mean, come on. I mean, am I getting the guests or what here today? I mean, it's incredible. And again, that song, "Hope to Hell," please try to download that song. You know, help the community out. We really need your help. And again, we're welcoming back AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and BAM, Blue Amp Media at blueamp.co. And again, we want to thank our sponsors, Popcorn and the Park Tavern for sponsoring our show today here on AM 950 and BAM as well. So before the break, we were talking about the SAVE Act, and we got, we had to take a hard break. So I kind of left everybody hanging. So I thought, well, the poor people of the rest of the country are not going to know what we're going to say. But I think this is this is one of the most important issues, because if you don't have the right to vote, if you don't have the vote, you don't have a democracy anymore. And that's my fear, Austin. I'm scared because I don't want to, I think we're like, backsliding into fascism, and it's frightening because we don't know what's going to happen in November. I mean, he may call, say, oh, there's a war, we can't have an election, martial law, I guess they call that when you declare martial law. Or he may purge the voter rolls, may get a hold of voter roll. I mean, I don't know what he's going to do, and it's just frightening to me. And I want to talk a little bit about the SAVE Act and why it's so dangerous. And you tell me what you think. All right. So I'm going to continue what I started half of it, and I want to finish it. It says, under the SAVE Act, Americans could not only bring driver's licenses to vote, but would need a passport or a birth certificate. Now, how many Americans out there, you people out there, walk around with your birth certificate or your passport on you? Some people don't even have one because, by the way, it's $160 to get one, by the way. And some people are just trying to make ends meet in this wonderful economy that we have. Being sarcastic, Austin. So how far do you think Republicans will go to cheat, knowing that our president is underwater in the polls, Austin?
Infinitely to as far as they need to go. I mean, and that's, I think what people look at the SAVE Act, and when it polls really well, and people are like, oh yeah, why wouldn't we do this? Well, there's a lot of reasons. And one of the biggest things that I think gets missed in the debate back and forth on the SAVE Act is people don't realize if you're currently registered to vote, let's say you voted in every election for the last 20 years, the SAVE Act still applies to you. Even if you're registered to vote, if you've been registered to vote and have been voting, you don't stay registered to vote under the SAVE Act. You need to re-register to vote with this documentation. And let's also be mindful that most state driver's licenses will not count as a form of ID for you to register to vote.
Will an enhanced license count?
I think it's the enhanced license, but with other supporting document. You can't just walk in with your enhanced driver's license.
Right.
And that's where it gets into this weird patchwork of what counts where and what doesn't count where. And so, for example, like a state like North Dakota, where you don't register to vote in North Dakota. You're just already registered when you get a driver's license. So
Yeah.
there's like some question of like, would they be exempt from this then? It's really confusing. The SAVE Act is bad legislation and it should
nebulous.
not pass. And the entire point is to suppress voter turnout.
Yeah, exactly. It's very nebulous, and nobody knows what's what side the butter's bread. The bread is buttered on. So, I don't even wear dentures, and I'm like I'm stumbling on my words. Yeah. So basically, what it is to me is a way of, first of all, women who are married, right? They were born maybe Mary Jones, and when they got married, they became Mary Smith, right?
Mhm.
So on your documentation, it's going to say Mary Smith, not Mary Jones, right? Mary Smith is your new name, your married name. And so when you go to get your voter ID card or some documentation to prove you're who you are, they're going to say, oh, no, that's not the same name.
Yeah, you would have to present a birth certificate and a marriage license. And I want to be clear, you can't go online and upload these documents. You have to register in person
Yeah.
with this. And for many people, if you live, say, in a metropolitan area, sure, it might only be a 20, 30-minute drive to where you need to go register in person, plus however long you're going to have to wait in line, right? Nobody likes to wait in line at the DMV or wait in line at the county office. But for people that live in rural areas or rural communities, you might be driving an hour or more to go through this process. You're not going to be able to apply online.
Yeah. Well, and a friend of mine who brought up another thing about this, and I never thought about it, and I wonder if you have. What about trans people who are were born under their dead name, and now they go by a different name, and they can't just they can't even get a driver's license in Kansas at this point. What are they going to do when it comes to voting?
Well, and trans voters are already one of the populations in the United States that face extreme exclusion and suppression in voting because of those ID issues.
Right.
And
of course,
this just further perpetuates that. And that's where people say, are we going to have an election? What if Trump tries to pull something? They're already pulling this. Like, this is already happening.
Uh-huh.
And it's not about, will we have an election? Yeah, I'm sure we will. But is it going to be an election where you and I and our neighbors get to vote? Or is it going to be an election where, the great leader walks away with 98% of votes?
Oh,
That's the question.
Please don't say that. Please don't say that. I would. Yes.
It's a scary thing to grapple with.
Thank
but
you.
if the SAVE Act passes, we are taking a great leap forward to those type of elections.
That's right. Yeah. So people, please, if you look, I mean, I don't even know what's going to happen in November. Nobody does. Nobody's a clairvoyant. But if there is a fair election, if is a big word, if there is a fair election, put some butter on the toast, because that's what Trump is, toast. Because there's no way he's going to win anything if the elections are fair, because he's underwater with ICE, with immigration. He's underwater with the economy. He's underwater with this war in Iran. Nobody wants a war. He even ran on no more endless wars. And that's another lie. So it's everything he said pretty much is the opposite's happening right now. And so, I'm just hoping that just go out, and I'm not telling you not to vote. Obviously, I want you to vote, but hopefully you will be able to. They won't purge your name off the vote. That's all I have to say. And make sure you know in your state, whoever's listening here, what your voter rules are. So when you go to the polls, they won't turn you away. Right, Austin?
And that's the biggest thing. Check your voter registration status. If you vote by mail or you vote early, check to make sure that your vote is counted.
Yes.
There are tools and ways to do that, and it varies depending on what state and area you live in. But take advantage of those tools and make sure you do it and get it done.
Yeah. Well, Now I'm going to talk about something a little bit uplifting. We're going to talk about No Kings.
Hey,
We talked about this on the Downright Upright show.
we did.
On AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, and at 5:00 on Saturday. Keep plugging my show. We talked about it, and it was an amazing experience. It was so electric. But you went to a different one, so can you tell your experience? No Kings.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're out with your friends and your neighbors, people you've never met before in some cases. And that's the biggest thing is people ask what's the effectiveness of protest, and I would argue protests are effective. And they can be a mode for change. And in many cases, sometimes this is increasingly what I'm running into, people saying this is their first time doing anything or first time
Yeah.
stepping up. And this is a way for them to connect with other organizations locally or connect with their neighbors locally and get plugged in with more types of resistance activities. In some cases, for people that do a lot of those resistance activities, this is just a way to celebrate and come together and be with community. And we touched on this yesterday, but numbers right now, and it varies. There's different counts, say between 8 and 9 million people participated in No Kings. And for perspective, the Tea Party, if we remember them back in the early 2010s, that was about 200,000 people. So this is significantly larger, and people are turning out because their lives are not better. Their groceries cost more. They're getting paid the same wage. They can't afford their housing. They can't afford education, and they're not safer. And that's what the election's going to come down to is those
Yeah.
questions. And when people say, how do I talk to people? How do I convince them to go to the next Kings? Because there's going to be another No Kings rally. Ask them, is your life better off?
Yeah, and the effective tax rate, folks, back in the day, when when Eisenhower was president, for example, and that was a Republican. The revenue that came into the government was so extensive. That money that those rich people were paying into was helping you as a person. A regular person walking, Joe Blow down the street, it was helping you. So when you reduce the revenue coming into the government, what happens is more of it stays in the pockets of the wealthy, and less of it. There's less for health care. There's less for child care. There's less for whatever that helps people, and that's what the problem is today. Look at, I think now the effective tax rate's in the low 20s. It was up in the 70s back in the 50s, and we had the strongest middle class after FDR was president, after the war was over. So we have to get back to the fundamentals of what are you going to do for the people? What are you going to do for me as a regular Joe Blow down the street? We used to call back in what was when Obama was running. There was that Joe the plumber. Yeah. And that's why I use Joe Blow because Joe the plumber was a right-wing person. But as a regular person, I take offense to all my tax money staying at the top and not coming down at all to me.
And potentially paying for things like the flyby with the Apache helicopters outside of Kid Rock's mansion. Did you see that story that broke yesterday? Yeah.
But we were talking about this on the Downright Upright show. We were talking about one. I have to get the number right. One missile. Remember we talked one Tomahawk missile was how many millions of dollars? Oh yeah, here it is. Each Tomahawk missile we fire into Iran costs us $2.5 million to $3.6 million per unit. So there's only not one missile being fired into Iran. It's multiple, many, many, many more. And the war, according to the sources I found here online, this war will cost the American taxpayer $1 billion with a B, not for the whole war, Austin. Guess what?
Per day.
One day. I'm at 1 day, $1 billion. Oh my God, that's so much money. And that's coming out of your pocket and going into Bezos' pocket and going into everybody else that's rich because they're not paying they're not, carrying their weight. In my opinion, you may disagree, Austin. I don't know. Do you?
No, I mean, we've had this conversation before, and we were talking about this a little bit before the show started. Just if these people were serious, if the Trump administration was truly serious about, and they've given a plethora of reasons for why we have to go to war, I guess, right now. And it's ever evolving. But if they were serious about impacting change and creating, not destabilizing the Middle East further, but creating a difference for the people of the lives of the people of Iran, we wouldn't have eliminated our strongest soft power resources with USAID. They wouldn't have cut Farsi language programming for Voice of America. I mean, there are things, these people have the tactical sense of a blueberry, and they're making these decisions that are harming people. There are more than 1 million people displaced in Lebanon. Every day we're hearing about more American soldiers that have been killed or wounded. We touched on this on the show. The 14-month-old granddaughter of the Ayatollah was reportedly killed in one of these strikes, and no amount of propaganda will ever convince me that that's a necessary step.
Yeah, and way over 100 little girls in Iran in a girls'
More than 160
school.
children.
160 children. Thank you. My numbers aren't exact, but so many little girls were killed senselessly in this war, and
Pointless deaths.
Pointless deaths, man. These could be your daughter. What would you like it if another country did the very same thing here in the United States? We'd be up in arms.
Well, and we have decried the tactics used by Vladimir Putin and Russia for targeting civilian infrastructure in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And now the president is threatening to do that and has done so already in Iran. I don't know how we're supposed to be, quote unquote, the moral police of the world. And we're determining who's bad guys and good guys when we're doing the same thing.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're going to have to take a break. I mean, it's been, we have floating breaks.
We're cruising.
This is, we're cruising along, and then I'm looking at the clock, and then I have to take a break out. So we're going to come back and talk more about No Kings. Because I wanted to mention other things about.
I'm sorry.
No, that's good. I want to try to bring up this conversation. So anyway, my name's Philip Anthony. This is the Matt McNeil Show here on AM 950 and BAM, and we'll be back.
When the evening.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity in styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
With Easter coming, Popped Corn, that's Popped corn.com, has all the flavors to put a smile on everyone's face. Popped Corn has many delicious flavors to choose from, like cheese made with real cheese, caramel, kettle corn, cinnamon toast, or try one of their great mixes like Windy City, featuring cheese and caramel. Their new flavor of the month is everything but the bagel, and they can ship their popcorn across the USA. Go to poppedcorn.com, enter the discount code MATT to get 10% off your order. That's discount code MATT at Poppedcorn, Popped corn.com.
Make Libby part of your spring break plans and bring your library wherever you go. With the Libby app from MELSA, the Metropolitan Library Service Agency, you can borrow ebooks, audiobooks, graphic novels, comics, and digital magazines right on your phone, tablet, or Kindle. Just download the Libby app at libbyapp.com. Enter your library card and start reading or listening. Best of all, the app is free, and so are the books, thanks to your public library.
Let's face it, big box corporate brokers are built to serve shareholders, not the consumer, and it's time for a reckoning. At REC, short for the Real Estate Collaborative, we're challenging the status quo. Why pay a percentage of your home's value when you can have ethical, flat dollar commissions? From full service support to DIY options for buyers and sellers, we put you at the center of the transaction. And when we aren't helping you move, we're working toward housing justice for all. Because at the Real Estate Collaborative, we believe that to defeat the systems we don't like, we have to build ones we do. Join the movement at therecolab.com. That's THERE as in real estate, COLLAB.com. Or call 651-412-3765. And we invite you to tune in to Reckoning with Real Estate every Sunday at 11 a.m. on AM 950, or listen on demand wherever you get your podcasts. At REC, we're radically reimagining real estate. We hope you'll join us.
How'd you get so low? Feeding that bad buzz in your head.
And welcome back to the Matt McNeil Show. My name is Philip Anthony, and I am filling in for the fantabulous Matt McNeil, and I'm here with my co-host. One of my co-hosts, my other co-host wasn't able to make it today. Well, we love our other co-hosts.
We do.
Yeah, Austin's here and Matt isn't. But we want to say hello to Matt. We love Matt. You know, maybe he'll call in later or maybe tomorrow. We'll see because we miss him.
We do.
Anyway, getting back to what we were talking about before, I think with this election coming up, there was a lot of apprehension. A lot of people have come up to me, especially during No Kings, and said to me, "What do you think? What's your opinion?" Now, I'm not an oracle. I don't know everything, but it's not looking. I mean, he knocked down the West Wing. East Wing.
East Wing.
Yeah, I got the wrong direction. The East Wing, and usually people do that because they want to stay. You don't do that when you're leaving, that's just saying, and then he's doing things like, saying, I want the voter rolls. And he's saying, but he's even put on his, what's that, Truth Social thing, that Trump 2028 stickers and signs and hats. And, so what are you doing that for? If you don't plan on running and you don't plan on being here, why are you? I guess it's to own the libs. What do you feel about that? Do you think he's owning the libs, or he's really thinking about staying?
Well, two things can be true.
Well, yeah.
I mean, I think it's a combination of both, but yeah, I think he's very serious about, he's going to try to usurp the term limits and remain, and there are people backing him with that. There are GOP folks. There were people at CPAC this week. Franklin Graham ended his speech with, we got to make sure we get Trump reelected in 2028.
He did say that?
Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Franklin Graham?
Yeah.
You mean the evangelist person?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And others, Steve Bannon has been out there touring, touting that idea, and they're not alone, right? There's definitely a group of conservatives, that do feel that he's got justification for that. And it's not just floating a scary idea. They're very serious about this. When he says what he's going to do, take it as being serious. We have to stop thinking he's just throwing radical things out. He's deadly serious about these things.
Yeah. Jeez. Stay tuned, folks. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's so amazing that we're even discussing this. Like when Obama was president, or even Bush, nobody was saying, "Oh, he's going to stay another term," or he's knocking down the East Wing, or starting a war. Well, he did start the war. He did do that. I should laugh because that was a horrible war, but still, actually, two wars. It was the Afghan and the Iraq war. So yeah. So I guess the message is don't vote Republican if you don't want to fight in a war, folks. I don't know. I mean, I don't remember the last. Well, Obama did a Libya, it was an incursion more than a war, I want to say. And then Clinton had that thing in Sarajevo. What is it?
In Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yeah, former Yugoslavia. Yeah. Okay. Well, I want to talk about something, and you have something on your agenda you want to talk about too, but I want to bring up something as well in LGBTQ news, because the LGBTQ. Okay, so for the folks out there who don't know, I'm sure like most of the people out there are from Minnesota and Minneapolis, St. Paul, so they know a little bit about me because they hear me on the radio and my commercials and about my show and this and that. But my show is to pick up the LGBTQ plus community and the progressive community because they walk hand in hand. And so I want to bring up a topic here, and then Austin's going to bring up a topic which just is breaking news because this just happened. The Supreme Court made a ruling. So I want to bring that up, and then I want to bring this one up because this is a couple of days ago it happened. So Idaho Senate Republicans were rushing towards passing the most cruel transgender bathroom criminalization bill in the country. This measure, already passed by the House in I want to say in Idaho, people, advanced to a full vote after a brief hearing in which lawmakers limited public committee testimony despite broad opposition. So the people went there voicing their disapproval. They're not for this bill at all. And the legislation, which is Bill 752, would make it a crime for a person to, quote, knowingly and willfully enter a restroom or changing facility that does not align with their sex assigned at birth. What is this thing with the sex assigned at birth? What are they so concerned about the genitalia of the person at birth? I mean, anyway.
It's weird.
It is creepy to me. You know, I mean, because when I look at a person, Austin, I don't know about you, but I do. When I look at a person, I don't look at them and say, I wonder what they do in bed. I wonder what their, personal bits look like, or what, it's not something that I stay up at night about. I just say, are they a nice person? Do I get along with them? Are they sweet? Are they kind? Are they this, that, the other thing? I don't, that's the last thing on my mind, Austin. Your views.
Yeah, I mean, unless I'm your physician and I'm examining you, and I'm not, unless we're engaged in some sort of caretaking relationship and I need to be aware of this information, or a sexual relationship with somebody, I don't need to know what's in your pants. I don't need to know what you do in a bathroom stall. That's your business, not mine.
Didn't we talk about this on the Downright Upright show? We were talking about that people go in the bathroom to do their business. Nobody peeks in the stall and watches like what are they doing in there. This is not a thing, folks.
And if you are, there's already rules for that.
Yes.
There's already laws for that. And it doesn't matter what your sex was assigned at birth.
Exactly. You're a perv. If you're doing that, regardless of what genitalia you had at birth, that's a problem for you. You have a you problem there. I mean, you shouldn't be looking at people when they're doing their business in a bathroom. Okay. I mean, that's just me, but I'm weird. Anyway, so I hope that this doesn't pass. Obviously, I'm hoping, because the people were furious at this meeting when they were holding these hearings, and I hope the people win and they get, because we were talking about this too on the show, that there are people that present. Let's just go with trans men for an example, that present like real. I mean, like not, I don't want to say the word real because that's mean. Look like, present as a man. They have a goatee, or they have hairy chest, or they have a deep voice, and they tattoos and muscles and yada yada. And do you really, Austin? I'm just going to ask you as a question: would you want that trans man to walk into a woman's bathroom because they were born with different genitalia when they were born?
I would want them to use the restroom they're comfortable using.
No, that's absolutely. But what's this thing though about what they look like?
Well, that's the biggest thing, is you can't determine what someone's gender is based on how they look.
Mm-hmm.
That is impossible. You cannot determine what sex someone was born with based on how they look. And I want to be really clear. I want to piggyback off this. The Idaho Chiefs of Police Association is vehemently opposed to this bill.
Oh, yeah.
Because it tasks law enforcement officers with what they call a difficult and inappropriate job of determining someone's biological sex at the time of birth based on their level. Like that's impossible. You're putting law enforcement in a really icky situation here.
Yeah.
So the Back the Blue crowd is not doing a whole lot to listen to law enforcement right now.
It's very creepy. But there's another. I heard this anecdotally, but this is something that is another example of why this is stupid. A lot of lesbians that I know, and from one that has told me a story, they look like a man. They can present as a man. And if they are they supposed to pull down their pants when they go to the bathroom now to prove that they really were born female? I mean, are a female? I mean, it's just sick. It sounds to me like you should have better things to do with your time. Maybe try to stop somebody from being raped down the corner or killed down the corner or yada yada. Leave people's private areas and their private spaces alone.
Well, and this is increasingly in states where they have passed similar laws trying to criminalize bathroom use. The cases that we see emerge from this are instances where you have cisgendered women that do not meet someone's definition of femininity, and suddenly
Right.
they're just trying to go about their day, and they find themselves being asked uncomfortable, weird questions by security guards or law
Yeah.
enforcement, or hauled out of a bathroom, and this is disrupting people's lives, and it's a non-issue. It's so a non-issue that they're trying to make into this big cultural divide.
And again, I have said this millions of times. The other party has a good way of mobilizing their base by othering. They did it with African Americans. They did it with Latinos with this immigration stuff because, now the Supreme Court says you can, an ICE officer could look at somebody and determine by their appearance whether they're illegal or not. Well, that's kind of racial profiling, if you ask moi. I think it's insane that we are living in a country that we're judging people by what we think they are instead of what they consider themselves. I mean, I am just so sick and tired of othering, because they did that with the gays even in the 80s. I remember we were talking about this on the Down Right Upright show many times. I would go to the water fountain, drink water when I was in my 20s. And then people would say, don't drink out of that water fountain. Philip drank there and he's gay. He could have AIDS. And now, obviously, they didn't know how it was spread at that time, but still in all, it's a way of demonizing people. It's God's punishment on the gay community. That's what it was, right? And
so they claimed.
Well, yeah, instead of, doing what I did, which was volunteering, delivering food to the inbound, housebound people who couldn't get out because they were so weak. They were dying. They were sick. Nobody would go near them, play checkers with them or cards, just to be human. They needed a human touch, and they weren't getting that. And this is what the other side, I'm afraid, is really good at, Austin. Is really, really good at othering and getting people, like with mass deportations, Austin, right? It's the people that appear, you like my air quotes, appear to be illegal. I don't know what that means, because I don't know how you could appear to be illegal. What do you have, a screen on your forehead that has a picture of your passport? I don't know what that means. So we have to stop that, Austin. We have to somehow get back to normalcy again.
Well, and I would argue, I would argue against saying going back to normalcy.
Before this whole nonsense.
But even from before this nonsense, I think this is a really great opportunity for people to look at whether it's the issue of immigration and deportation and arrests with that, or whether it's bathrooms, whether it's accessibility. The point is, you cannot make determinations about somebody's legal status, about their gender, about their sexuality, about any of those things with somebody based on the way that they look. And when we make those decisions based on profiling, on race, or hair color, or style of clothing, or
language they speak now is another one.
Femininity, masculinity, whatever it is, you can't make those determinations based on those factors.
Yeah. Now I speak Spanish, not perfectly, but I'm communication able. I can have a sort of like a seventh grade conversation with someone in Spanish. And I have friends that are speak Spanish, and I love to speak Spanish because it's a way to practice it and keep it alive. Because if you don't use it, you lose it when it comes to a language,
Yeah.
And I was in, I don't remember if I was in Walmart, someplace, I shouldn't be there, but don't hate me, folks. I needed some medication.
There's no ethical consumption in capitalism.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyway, so I was there, and my friend speaks perfect Spanish, so I started speaking Spanish to him, and he walks over to me, and goes, "Philip, no." I said, "What?" "Remember, ICE hears you speaking Spanish. They're going to determine that you are not from the not an American citizen, and they're not looking at documentation. They're just taking you, regardless of, just the fact you spoke Spanish." And I thought about it. I said, "Gee, that's so true. That could be me in the paddy wagon getting sent to, what's that place in Texas?
To the Dilley detention
Dilley.
center.
Thank you. It is a Dilley, that's for sure. So yeah. Anyway, but we're going to be taking a break now. So we're going to come back and talk about conversion therapy this was just ruled by the Supreme Court. So this is the Matt McNeil Show. My name is Philip Anthony. We'll be back after these commercial breaks.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Hi, this is Chad from AM950. I've been telling you about Snap Construction, the company AM950 trusts for all roofing and siding needs. Now that spring is here and summer is around the corner, now is a great time to find out why AM950 trusts Snap Construction. Ryan, the owner, and his team at Snap Construction have been great to work with, and they have enjoyed working with our listeners.
Hi, this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners at AM 950. What a great group of people and a great radio station. I personally want to thank all the listeners that we've had the opportunity to work with. At Snap Construction, we look forward to working with many more of you when it comes to your roofing, siding, windows, and insulation. Don't just take Chad's word for it. Google Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the Twin Cities metro. We led this community with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate. Call today, 612-333-SNAP, 612-333-SNAP, or visit us online, snapconstruction.com.
Hi, I'm Philip Anthony, the host of the Downright Upright Show, which airs every Saturday at 5 p.m. On my show, I interview captivating and influential guests, but the first Saturday of every month is the co-host show with my two amazing co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Austin, and I'm here talking about Minnesota politics.
And I'm Matt Amundsen, and I'm talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion.
So don't forget, every Saturday at 5 p.m., the Downright Upright Show with Philip Anthony. And I hope you're all feeling fantabulous!
Hey, it's Tom Hartman from my friends at All Energy Solar, and I want to talk about something most people don't consider until it's too late. Energy independence isn't just about saving money. It's also about what happens when the grid goes down. Severe weather, aging infrastructure, unexpected outages, they happen, and when they do, most homes go dark. But not homes with solar and battery backup from All Energy Solar. Here's what makes it work. Solar panels charge the battery during the day, so when a storm hits or the grid fails, your home stays powered. Lights, refrigerator, medical equipment, whatever matters most keeps running. All Energy Solar is certified by both Tesla and Enphase for battery storage and has been installing complete solar plus battery systems since 2009. Minnesota battery rebates are also available. Don't wait for the next outage to wish you had acted. Visit allenergysolar.com or call 800-620-3370 for your free evaluation today.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Tonight, cloudy with a low of 31. Then Wednesday, a chance of rain and snow with a high of 43. The Great Wall has been your home for Chinese favorites since 1981. Don't miss the sesame chicken, mushu pork with Chinese pancakes, or Peking duck. Stop in at the restaurant on France Avenue and 45th Street along the Minneapolis Edina City line, or check them out at greatwallrestaurant.us.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Welcome back to the Matt McNeil Show. My name's Philip Anthony. I am here subbing for the fantabulous Matt McNeil, and I'm here with Austin, one of my co-hosts. My other co-host, Matt, is home today, but we love him and we miss him, right, Austin?
We do.
We do. Matt is just the sweetest human being. I just want to, again, welcome AM 950 and BAM, the Blue Amp Media at blueamp.co. And I also want to thank our sponsors again, Popcorn and the Park Tavern. I've been to the Park Tavern. It is the bomb. It is really nice. The food is great. The people are nice. Go there, folks. Anyway, okay, so as I said before the break, we were going to talk about the ruling passed down by the Supreme Court about conversion therapy, correct, Austin?
Yes.
And apparently it's got a lot of nuance. So I doesn't it? And because there were some that voted one way, some voted another way, some voted, so not voted, but ruled. I keep thinking of voting because, again, I have one track mind when it comes to, voting. What say you about this ruling?
Yeah, so right, happy Transgender Day of Visibility. The U.S. Supreme Court has decided they have ruled against the state of Colorado in this case involving conversion therapy ban law. And so this was a case that was brought by a woman that is a licensed therapist in the state of Colorado. She practices what she calls a faith-based therapy system. And this was brought by her with the support of the Alliance Defending Freedom. They're an anti-LGBT hate group that is also a conservative organization that's brought tons of lawsuits. They're the people that pushed through the lawsuit that got Roe overturned, just to give you some familiarity. And it was not necessarily a shock that SCOTUS decided in favor of them against Colorado. What was a shock was that this was an 8-1 decision. Justice Jackson was the only justice that dissented.
Yeah.
She wrote a scathing, 38 or 39 page dissent against this. ADF, their supporters, the Trump administration, and others, and I'm really disappointed to see media coverage, frankly, on this today. They're like, well, this was a free speech case. This was not a case about conversion therapy. It's only about speech. And the
That's
tagline,
what they say.
That's what they
Excuse me,
say.
That's what they did say, but you have a better
I disagree with that.
view of that.
And the reason is, so this law that Colorado put forward, which was previously, they won. They're in all the lower courts, in the lower court of appeals, they won this. It was upheld that the Colorado law was justified. It says licensed therapists, that's specifically who this is referring to, cannot engage in any type of, module, any type of therapy sessions that are conversion therapy. And what this woman and the ADF are arguing is they're saying that if it's just talking, it's not conversion therapy. They're saying, hey, we're not physically abusing anybody, so it's not harmful. The problem with it is that all of the major psychological governing bodies, so like the American Association of Psychiatrists, the the Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, any major organization that governs how therapists are licensed, they all agree conversion therapy is harmful. And so, and the Colorado law does not prohibit therapists from having a conversation about gender exploration. If somebody's saying, hey, I'm exploring my gender identity, it doesn't say you have to say, great, you're trans. You can have a conversation exploring that with them. What it says is you don't get to say, your parents signed you up for therapy. You say you're trans, your parents want you to be cisgendered. I'm here to give you therapy to make you cisgendered. That's what the Colorado law bans. And the Supreme Court today said, guess what? That's a ban on free speech. But again, the problem is this is not individuals having a conversation in person. It does not say you're not allowed to have an opinion that you don't like people that are LGBTQ. You can still have that opinion. Right. What this says is that as a licensed therapist, you can't push that on other people. And unfortunately, the Supreme Court has now ruled that it's free speech and they can. And that's so disgusting because this law was not about prohibiting free speech. It was about regulating professional therapy treatment.
Yeah. Wow. Well, see, look, in Minnesota, for those of you who don't live here, probably don't know this, we had a trifecta, and they passed such amazing legislation during the trifecta when we had control of the House here in Minnesota. The Senate and Governor Walz signed those bills into law. And I'll tell you something. The conversion therapy thing was one of the things that I said, well, hallelujah, that we here in Minnesota will not put a child through that.
Mm-hmm.
We will not. It's not, if you don't believe in the child being, and when I say child, I mean, it's usually somebody 16. By that point, they're kind of like 15, start developing a consciousness about themselves. Very few kids maybe that are 5, I mean, I've heard there's some, but
there are,
it's a minority, I would say, right? Wouldn't you say?
I don't know the exact numbers. The point is, we're talking about children.
Yes, children. Yes, and the parent is, if the parent wants the child to not be medically, transitioned, that's not happening. Nobody's medically transitioning their children at an underage. So if they socially do it, that's fine. I mean, I don't understand why you wouldn't want your kid to be happy.
Well, and healthy. I mean, that's the other point of this.
Mental health is important.
Conversion therapy is extremely dangerous to children. And even when it does not involve physical harm to kids, which there are, places that do and have done documented cases of horrific physical harm to children, as a process of conversion therapy, even when it's strictly talking and conversation, it is still extremely dangerous. And I want to be clear, the Colorado law carves out religious exemptions. So if you're a therapist working solely and only in a religious capacity for, say, like a religious retreat that wants to do conversation-based, therapy that says you don't get to transition and you aren't supposed to like people with same-sex attraction or whatever, there's a religious exemption for that. So that was never regulated. That was never taken away from people. This is strictly and only applied to licensed therapists practicing in, a therapy setting where they're billing themselves as a professional.
Yeah. Well, look, I think that the Supreme Court got this one wrong. In my opinion, I agree. I mean, at first I was like, I told you in the car, we have conversations in the car. Yes. And I was like, well, as long as it's just speech, it can't be that bad, but then you enlightened me. So thank you for that. I changed my mind because, I thought about Sotomayor and Kagan, and I said, well, they wouldn't, they're so pro-LGBTQ. They would never, So, if you have a child, let your child be themselves. Let them be authentic because the authenticity makes a child healthy mentally and physically. Anyway, so we're going to probably have to take our third break and then we're done. So, and then when we come back, we'll just talk about happy thing. Let's try to do something happy on the way. Yeah. Anyway, this is the Matt McNeil Show here on AM 950 and BAM and on Substack. We'll be back after these messages.
Hi, I'm Mary T. Caring for others runs deep in my family. My grandmother, Rosa, was a nurse who cared for people in their homes more than a century ago. Inspired by her compassion, my mother, Margaret, and I founded the Mary T. family of companies nearly 50 years ago. Today, we continue that legacy across Minnesota, Wisconsin, Maryland, and Arizona, providing senior living, assisted living with memory care, home health, hospice care, rental housing, and support for people with disabilities. Each service is personal, creative, and focuses on the unique needs of those we serve. We also believe in joy and community, which is why we opened Crooner Supper Club in Fridley, a place to celebrate life with music, laughter, and connection. At Mary T., we're proud to be a Minnesota family company rooted in compassion, inclusion, and respect, and proud supporters of AM 950 and the values that this station represents. Visit MaryTinc.com to learn more.
Congratulations to Mary T, named one of the most admired CEOs of 2026 by the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal.
In an era defined by fear and silence, one woman dared to stand alone against the tide. Theater in the Round Players presents Conscience, the inspiring true story of Senator Margaret Chase Smith. In 1950, Smith became the first woman to challenge McCarthyism on the Senate floor. This powerful drama captures her courageous declaration of conscience, a moment of political integrity that resonates deeply today. Witness this stirring portrait of moral courage from March 27th through April 19th. Tickets and more information at theaterintheround.org.
Get ready for Easter fun with the annual Easter brunch at the Park Tavern. Enjoy Easter ham, all your Easter breakfast and brunch favorites, and all the sides and desserts. Seatings are from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sunday, April 5th, and you need reservations. $29.95 for adults, $19.95 for those over 65 and under 12 years old, and 5 and under are free. And don't forget the hour of free bowling with every reservation. Call 952-929-6810 on Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park. Enjoy a delicious, stress-free Easter with the Park Tavern.
Hi, this is Chad from AM950. I've been telling you about Snap Construction, the company AM950 Trust for all roofing and siding needs. Now that spring is here and summer is around the corner, now is a great time to find out why AM950 trusts Snap Construction. Ryan, the owner, and his team at Snap Construction have been great to work with, and they have enjoyed working with our listeners.
Hi, this is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners at AM 950. What a great group of people and a great radio station. I personally want to thank all the listeners that we've had the opportunity to work with. At Snap Construction, we look forward to working with many more of you when it comes to your roofing, siding, windows, and insulation. Don't just take Chad's word for it. Google Snap Construction, arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the Twin Cities Metro. We led this community with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. Don't wait to get a free estimate. Call today, 612-333-SNAP, 612-333-SNAP, or visit us online, snapconstruction.com.
I'm not that easy to tame.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Matt McNeil Show. I almost said the wrong show. I am Philip Anthony. I'm here with Austin. Something just came breaking news again, Austin.
Oh.
See what I'm saying about the fire hose of news?
Yes.
A judge orders construction stopped on the Trump's White House ballroom. It just came up. A federal judge required the president to seek lawmakers' input and pursue traditional approvals before proceeding with the $400 million replacement for the East Wing. Oh, God. I'm telling you, you can't, if you blink, you'll miss something.
You will. And, you know, my spouse and I were talking about the ballroom last night, and Trump went on his little rant about the Corinthian columns are the most beautiful columns. And I love home design stuff. And I am not a fan of millennial gray, but I think it would be so funny if whoever is the next president just millennial grayed his whole ballroom. Would be hilarious.
I know. Well, a couple of listeners have suggested, and I'm going to do this on Matt's show because, you know, Matt's a lot of fun too. Telling some Trump jokes.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to hear a couple?
Sure.
I think they're funny. So here's the first one. I'll ask you, how does MAGA tie their shoes?
Well, are they tying their shoes or just slipping them into their big old clown shoes Trump bought for them?
No. Do you know the answer?
I don't know.
MAGA ties their shoes with little Nazis.
Oh, ouch.
That's, yeah. What does the Trump administration use instead of emails?
Well, could make a joke about Signal getting hacked, but
Alternative FAX, fax.
That's good.
I love that. Okay. What did Trump say when asked how to respond to Hurricane Florence?
This is a paper towel one, right?
I don't know. This is a joke. They're sending me these things. Pay her the same as Stormy Daniels.
Wow.
Hurricane Florence. Get it?
Yeah.
Okay. The bartender says, "What can I get you, Mr. President? Donald Trump becoming president has already had a positive effect on the economy." Well, that's not that funny. Anyway, I just want to say thank you to everybody out there today for listening. Well, I'll be back tomorrow. Please don't hate me. I'll be back tomorrow. And I'll be back with Jerome Evans from Bottomless Coffee with Jerome. And we're just going to say goodbye and, and hope everyone out there stays safe and tune in tomorrow. And we love you.
Located just north of